it'll take a huge effort, a fantastic team performance, always a bit of luck. We're playing against a top team that are, in a really good moment because they've won Club World Cup. Talented squad, so we have to perform well as a team. Balance between attack and defence has to be really good, and we have to give everything. No, everybody's fine. George Earthy trained with the group today, so he was the only one. We had Lewis Guilherme go over on his shoulder in the week before the game, so he's still missing. But apart from that, everybody's okay.
Edson Alvarez, we know he's close to joining Fenerbahce on loan. Can you just talk us through the thinking behind that move?
Well, nothing's been confirmed, so I don't like to speak about things when they're not confirmed. As the case is all the time, players, you have to take decisions on how much game time they're going to have, how much they want, whether it's the right fit for us, the right fit for them. You're always balancing that, ultimately with the needs of the team, and that's the case, player to player.
On Sunday, Karen Brady gave an interview with TalkSport. She said that the club are working really hard to get a midfielder in, especially one with athleticism. You've mentioned PSR quite a few times in last week's press conference. Is there a chance with the complications of that move might not happen, that you might not be able to sign a player of that profile?
Well, I think the profile is one that we think about privately, to be honest, because I think that helps us in the market. We have to try to find the right players always, as I repeat. It's about the right player, the right profile, the right person, always. And that isn't easy to do, especially when you've got restrictions you have because of PSR. Every club has. As I said last week, it's not like we can go for Isak. We have a certain market, and that's fine. So our job is to try to look for players that can improve us externally, and at the same time look for players and help the players we have here. Clearly we have to do that, and that's where my focus is on.
Is it frustrating because I guess it's another week on and you haven't managed to get that signing in? Is it becoming a frustration?
No, I don't see it like that. I see it that the squad has had investment over a number of years, and we have to get more out of the squad that we have. As I said, we'll also look to improve, and we'll do that together. We'll do that as a club. We'll do that collectively, and we'll try and find the best solution. It's great, especially when you've had a bad result, that everybody thinks that the silver bullet's going to come from outside and save us all. History will suggest it doesn't work like that. It's about being a club, about being a team, about being together, accepting the criticism that comes when a bad result comes, but to get on and do your work and take that responsibility.
The Sunderland result, how does a result like that affect you, first of all as a person, and then second of all as the head coach of this football club?
Well, there's a few more people in the press conference. That's what it means. So, but the reality of it is a disappointing result. Of course it is. There's no getting away from that. It's a bad result for us. At the same time, you always have to analyse the overall situation. You always have to analyse the performance. You have to analyse how you can improve. The game wasn't a 3-0 game, in my opinion. I think we do a lot right up until the first goal. I think we've calmed the situation down. An away performance was relatively good. We're in control of the game, I felt. They score a goal out of pretty much nothing, and then the environment makes it really challenging. And we don't react as well as we'd like to react in that situation, which I think is fair. And then the second goal is a second phase from a free kick, from a corner, which we don't do well enough to. And then the third's our corner and a breakaway and a mistake. So the scoreline is not nice. The scoreline creates, negativity, which we have to accept. But at the same time, as I repeat, I believe a lot in the players. I believe a lot in the team. I believe a lot in the club. And my job is to support them and push and to improve.
What was your approach with the players like after the result, after the game, and in the days afterwards? Because like I said, maybe you didn't think it was a 3-0 result, but it still would have been a really disappointing.
Of course.
You talked about the basics not being done, which I guess would have been even more disappointing considering just having a pre-season that was quite positive for them.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, it's the Premier League. With the greatest respect, I don't think we can turn up anywhere and think that, oh yeah, we're going to get 3 points. It's not as simple as that. And whilst we want to, of course we do, and we tried our best to do it, we know we need to do more in terms of results. We know we need to try and improve our performance. The players were gutted after the game, properly gutted, because there was optimism and there was positivity, and we all understand that when you lose 3-0, it's bad. So it's up to us to react, it's up to us to show, it's up to us to perform.
Hi Graham.
Hi.
Mass Hermanson last weekend, we saw him pull out some good saves in the game against Sunderland, but of course he did come in for a lot of criticism for that third goal. Have you felt the need this week to have a one-on-one chat with him? Will he be starting again tomorrow night?
I haven't had I don't think I need to have a one-to-one chat with him. Of course, he's got goalkeeper coaches that support him. I've been checking him and looking at him, and he's absolutely fine. Trained really well. And he'll play. He'll play tomorrow.
In terms of the goals that you can see, the first two, I suppose, with them both being from headers, is that an area of concern for you after looking back at the game and how it panned out in terms of those goals?
Well, I think they're two different situations. One's an open play goal. The cross comes in from probably 30-40 yards. Yeah, it's not a good action from us in the end of the day. It goes in between our two centre-backs to a centre-forward that's falling back pretty much, and he heads it. It's a header from heaven. It's a 1 in a million header, if I'm being honest. It's a brilliant header that goes in the bottom corner. So, of course, it's not good from our perspective. It's when the cross goes in, you think, OK, we should be able to deal with that. We don't. But I don't think that wasn't happening all the time. It wasn't like there was 10 crosses and in the end they get 1 goal. It's one action that can happen, which I think is also a learning point for us in this league. And then the second goal was we get our organisation wrong off a second face corner. We all come out, and I think we're all coming out a bit too quickly because we've probably lost our logical part of our brain. The emotion of the game is taking over. We're 1-0 down. As I said, we need to react a little bit better in those situations. And then obviously it's another headed goal which leads to the question, but I don't think they're necessarily a pattern.
Tomorrow night, big game, Chelsea at home. Chelsea did do the double of the West Ham last season, but in one of your first games at Stamford Bridge, West Ham played really well despite losing. What do you think it's going to take to get a positive result over Chelsea tomorrow night?
Well, it'll take a huge effort, a fantastic team performance, always a bit of luck. Whenever you play football, you need a little bit of that as well. But no, it's very simple. We're playing against a top team that are, in a really good moment because they've won Club World Cup, talented squad. So we have to perform well as a team. Balance between attack and defence has to be really good, and we have to give everything.
What do you make of Chelsea at the moment? Because they didn't have a normal pre-season. You mentioned they won the Club World Cup, but we saw against Palace, obviously they struggled to create chances, even though they kept a clean sheet. So what kind of shape do you feel they'll be coming into the match in?
Yeah, you can imagine I've too much time to reflect on where Chelsea are at. I've been thinking a lot about where we're at. What I know is Chelsea have got a very, very talented manager, a talented squad on the back of a successful summer period. They're constantly investing in the team with young players, so we expect a big challenge.
And finally for me, you mentioned last weekend at Sunderland, obviously a challenging environment. Fans help to create that. How much do you need your fans behind you tomorrow night to get a positive result over Chelsea?
No, I have to say that the atmosphere at Sunderland was one of the best I've experienced in the Premier League. To be fair, and obviously it makes a difference. Of course it does, because that environment, that atmosphere is you want it to be like that. But our responsibility is to help our supporters get to that point. We have to play better. We have to get better results. We know that we need to connect more with our home fans. And in that way, it's a great game for us.
Cheers,
Thank you.
Hi Graham, how are you?
Good.
So how much was last week a real eye-opener for you about how far you are away from this team being the team you want them to be?
Well, no, I've known all along that it's a work in progress, and I know that you always have to make that balance between expectation and reality. You have to do that. You have to keep working. You have to keep pushing. I think there's a lot more to come from the team. I'm confident in the team. I'm confident in the players. I'm confident in what we have. I'm confident that we can also improve. So, but at the same time, I also know that the result is a result. And while you have a result like that, there's a lot of negativity and criticism, which is normal.
You mentioned afterwards about the players not doing the basics well. I've never played football, unsurprisingly, but I would have thought that the first thing players should do is be able to run. The second thing is a professional footballer do basic things well. But did that shock you?
No. It's when you understand football and you understand how the game and the goal and the environment can change. You're human beings. And it wasn't a case of not running, in my opinion. It was a case of we conceded the first goal in a not good way, and then probably emotionally we didn't deal with that situation well enough. And then when you're not thinking properly, or you're playing a little bit without thought, sometimes you don't do the basics well enough, and we didn't do that.
When you say basics, can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, we came out of the second phase unorganised. We didn't defend our box well enough. That's basics.
Tomorrow night is a big game because there's now more pressure on you, having lost what looked like a winnable or a game you maybe shouldn't have lost on the only day at Sunderland. The home fans will be expecting some sort of backlash from the team in a positive way.
Yeah, of course, they expect a better performance, better result. It's a bit disrespectful to Sunderland and to anybody that think that we're just going to turn up and win. I don't think that's the case at all. Last year, the team lost to Leicester away. The team narrowly beat Southampton, but it was a tough match, as all the games are in the Premier League. So I don't buy this assumption that we should win. I think you have to earn it to win, and I think you have to play well to win, and I think you have to do everything well to win, and we didn't. So we have to accept that, and we have to deal with that, and we have to improve. So that's what I think our supporters would expect of us, and we have to show a good performance, and we're looking forward to the game.
Last one from me. You mentioned a little bit earlier that the rest of the transfer window, the silver bullet, you called it a silver bullet that will solve everything, isn't necessarily somebody coming into the team from outside. What is the silver bullet that will...
There's no silver bullet. That's the point.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
cameras off, please.